If you watched the live stream yesterday, you know that we wind up walking away with Jiji and Okaroon. And thankfully, now I actually have 2 Okaroons, but that's for another day. Once we got Jiji on the live stream, we decided to test him out and take him up against a bunch of different things to see if he was actually somewhat good. Let's be honest here, me and you, let's just be completely frank. His kit alone seems a little bit lackluster. I feel like they kind of just threw everything at him and just hope that something sticked. Like, his true art is a stackable dark res down on the enemy, but it doesn't give art gauge or anything else. That's all it does. The super art's just a big nuke that gives you additional damage. The art's giving you flinch res while also giving everyone on the team 200 art gauge, if they're a demon at least. So I feel like he doesn't come off as a very impactful unit, and unfortunately that's kinda how it was. On the initial testing that we did with him, I decided to use him in just the training battle with this team right here, and just to see how much his damage could be right out the gate. And as you see, he dealt okay damage. You may think this is pretty solid, but we compared it to Saito Hajime. A lot of people were asking for this. I don't know why, because I told everyone before I did it, if we compare him to Saito Hajime, we are all going to be depressed. With the exact same team, the only thing we switched out was Jiji and Saito Hajime, and you can see that, yeah, the damage difference is quite severe, which is so wild to me why they hold Jiji this much in the damage department. You have Okaroon out here dealing millions upon millions of damage every single wave, plus you also have it to where once you get to that final wave, he is killing bosses with millions of HP with equipment, ladies and gentlemen. I know you guys remember the video the other day that Shinobu gave me to show off the 4 Okaroons in one team killing Valzendeath with freaking creation. Like, come on now. I'm doing this right now with equips that don't even have that high of a multiplier. Look, this is Truth of Eternity with 2 Okaroons, and I'm one-shotting it with just their 5-star physical weapons. So I went back to the drawing board. I wanted to see if there was something that I could add in to this team to really buff up Jiji's damage, because let's be honest here, the War God Finn really isn't doing much for us. And out of every unit that I tested with Jiji, surprisingly, the one that actually worked with him the most was Makoto from the Kenshin crossover. And this is mainly just due to the fact that he has a 150% damage res down, and that is a multiplicative debuff. And it definitely leads me to believe this is the best partner I can use Jiji with, at least in my account. If you had Momon would probably be the best, considering all the different buffs he gives, as long as Jiji is going to be right beside him. Plus, if you're running like an all demon team, Momon's going to be able to apply a 200% dark res down on the enemy, which is going to be very impactful. But even with this, his damage was kind of low, but it was good though. It was like around 50 million or so. Just pray to God you see this guy never bite a chunk out of anyone's ass. This is still solid. I'm not really upset that Jiji's not hitting as hard as someone like Okaroon or someone like Saito Hajime. This to me is a solid damage number if I'm using him with this team, which is, I would say, somewhat optimized, but I could definitely fine tune it a bit more. That's when I started thinking, maybe Jiji is meant to be a nuke support. And hear me out on this. I know the only thing he has in his kit that is like nuke support-esque is his art, but that art gives everyone on the team, no matter what race you are, 100 art gauge. If you're a demon, you get 200. This is what I came to believe Jiji was actually designed for. Jiji was designed to give 100 art gauge to everyone. This way, it opens doors to not only allow you to use other equips instead of tons of support equips to make sure you have the 300 art gauge for your big nukes, but it could also allow you to use certain units' arts or even true arts on top of doing their very big nukes. There are plenty of characters in GS that would love to be able to use their art before they use their super art. He's pretty much like a 12th generation Mizuki on crack. Since he just needs 100 art gauge, he gives everyone that 100 arts. And then if you're a demon, you just get even more. And the thing is that it's not hard for Jiji to get 100 art gauge if you have the right equips. If you can have a true Exceed Zex, which gives you 30 art gauge, some type of physical item that can give you a bit more. I used Ashura here, but you don't really need to use Ashura, you could use anything. And if you have Necroculus, this guarantees that no matter what, you are a bit over 100 art gauge. And if you wanted to really optimize this a bit more, you could take off one of these equips and throw on just a level 4 art gauge up or 4+ art gauge up. And there you go. Jiji now has 100 art gauge right out the gate, being able to flick up on his art and give everyone on his team 100 arts or 200 if you're a demon. And the little bit of playtesting that we did using this method, I found that Jiji was really effective as this. If I was using him alongside Samurai Rimuru was able to get off his art and then go into his super arts. If I ran him alongside Hoka, this allowed Hoka to not have to use his Chew weapon in nuke situations, and it freed up his slot to actually be able to use other equips. Hell, this even allows Demon Lord Rimuru to instantly be able to use his art to make sure that he has crit rate so you don't have to put crit chance on the team. And this is just scratching the surface. We could go a lot deeper if we explore literally every single unit to just see what all Jiji allows them to do with this extra 100 arts. Now, unfortunately, this is where it kind of ends, because once Jiji uses this art once, he can't use it again to get that 100 art gauge to everybody. If he could, I promise you, we would no longer use art shinners. So since it's a one-time use, what does Jiji do after he uses it? That's where you go into his True Art. His True Art is able to stack Dark Res down onto the enemy. So in theory, you would use him alongside somebody that applies a massive amount of Dark Res, like Momon. Use Jiji's True Art to get even more Dark Res down to further fuel a character like Demon Lord Rimuru to do even more damage. Oh, you thought Jiji was going to be the star of the show? Yeah, not at all. I also want to mention too that I think Jiji would have been immensely better if during his super art, if he wasn't affected by flinch, paralyze, anything like that. You know how like Veldora can go into his dragon form and just brute force everything even if he's fainted, paralyzed, or whatever? If Jiji had this mechanic, I would be a bit more appreciative of his damage and what he's doing. But for right now, Jiji's true strength unfortunately just lies as being an art gauge bot in nuke settings. Jiji's design is really cool, and from what I've heard, he's one of the strongest in Dandadan. And the fact that GS treated one of the strongest characters from Dandadan like this, it's just weird. I'm just gonna take a second here and do a very brief summary of how I feel about the part 2 of Dandadan. It's just They don't really seem insanely impactful, they don't really seem insanely bad, but they're just kind of there. This may be an entire video one day if I get around to making it, but truly I feel like part 2 was just a little bit underwhelming compared to what we got in part 1. Then again though, I will say Okarun is hard carrying this entire crossover as being this unstoppable force. That's gonna be it for this video. Tell me down below what you all think about Jiji. Do you guys like this unit? Do you guys not? Have you tested him out? Have you tried him in a bunch of different things? Let me know what you have found out about Jiji down below. If you enjoyed this video though, I highly recommend check out this video right here. It's the Okarun showcase. There's some crazy stuff that goes on in that, so I recommend you click it. Oh, and one more thing before you leave, don't forget to drink water.